There are some people's egos that are attached to their ability to help somebody. And what they'll do is they'll actually do something foolish or not listen to wisdom, trying their best to help somebody so that they can have the credit that I helped them out. You know, after I finished praying with them. Guess what happened? Such and such and such, but I think God used me. All types of stuff. I'm telling you. I'm saying God used me because they want validation for their own ministry.
Right.
When in actuality, you did not help this person. You have to know where your boundaries are, where your training is, understand your limits in terms of training, and do not do more than you've been trained to do. Learn how to point people to the right resources. And every church should have a resource list, or somewhere a crisis center should be hanging up in the church. Huh? Emergency room number should be hanging up in the church. Shelters number should be hanging up in the church. There should be a resource booklet for people, because people come to the church sometimes and that's the only thing they know. You know, but you can be kind of like triage and help them to get where they need to go. Don't immediately default to, you know, if you do this, you're going to hell. Scared straight doesn't work. Okay? Because there's a generation that's coming up that is not afraid of hell. Okay? I sat in Sunday school with some folk and said, oh, yeah, I know I'm going to hell, I'm just going to burn up. Or they'd say, I'm already living in hell. What could be worse than this? You know, so what we were afraid of growing up, because we were all night long. Because we was told there's a place hotter than this. You know, but this generation coming up, they're not afraid of hell. So don't default to that. Learn how to pray and encourage them to do so as well. So I'm not saying remove prayer out of the situation. Prayer is always in order. Prayer is always good. And well, I didn't really get a chance to go over, but depression is a spirit as well. Yeah. You know? And just a sidebar, for somebody who's taking medication and comes to you and says, I believe God can heal me. Should I come off my medication? Will you believe God with me to come off my medication? Yes, but he can do it, but stay on your medication until the doctor says come off your medication. Which is another thing. We can make people feel less spiritual, like they don't have faith. I mean, you got folk taking medication for high blood pressure, for diabetes, all those things. The minute they're taking a psychotropic medication, oh, you need to believe God. He's a heart fixer and a mind regulator. He'll regulate your mind. Well, some of that is a neurochemical issue that God has given the doctors wisdom about to create medication to help bring the brain's neurochemistry back into balance. So don't you take it upon yourself to be super spiritual, to touch and agree with them and say, you know what, God said, come on off now. You don't want to be that person, okay? No. That's a sidebar. Don't just let the person leave your presence. Stay with them. We're so quick to let people go. You know, whether you're working the altar, whether they're your Sunday school student, don't just leave them to drift off. But make sure you're kind of handing them off to someone, especially if you have concern. Okay? And make sure somebody else is notified. Extend yourself. Establish with them a plan that they can follow if they are feeling as if they want to harm themselves or take their life. So it requires you to do more than just lay hands and send them back to their chair. Sometimes you're going to have to extend yourself. And I thank God for the sister back there that talked about how for a year she called, followed up, asked how the person was doing, you know, on a regular basis. Those are things that we may need to do in order to help a person out of that situation, right? But you've got to feel like you're a part of the support system. You've got to feel like you have a responsibility to make sure that things are done for the greater good, and it's not just about me and mine. I went in, God touched me, I'm glad, and then you go home and praise God for the touch you received while somebody sitting next to you is depressed.
I think that